Live from downtown Detroit, home of WDIV and Click on Detroit, Local 4 News at 11 starts now.
Welcome to your Thursday night. I'm meteorologist Andrew Humphrey. We are rain-free so far, showers and storms to our south, but we may have some before we wake up tomorrow morning. We'll talk more about that, your full Friday forecast, your weekend forecast in minutes.
The city of Detroit unveils its plans for the old state fairgrounds site, and it includes tearing down an historic building.
But we begin with massive power outages across the entire area on this hot and muggy night, with 527,000 customers still in the dark. That means about a quarter of everyone in Metro Detroit is gone, roughly 24 hours with no electricity and no air conditioning.
DTE releasing new information just within the past 30 minutes. About 150,000 customers have had their power restored since the storms hit yesterday afternoon. DTE expects to have 80% of those outages restored by the end of Saturday, 95% by the end of the weekend.
Mara McDonald is live in Westland tonight. Mara, even with thousands of crews working around the clock, it appears it's still going to take days for everybody to be back up and running.
Kimberly, we are in Westland along Ford Road to give you an idea of what it looks like out here tonight. You know, Westland was hit pretty hard yesterday with many power outages. The good news is the DTE outage map updated to say that most of this is going to be back online tomorrow night about this time. But there are still thousands of people who've gotten messages from DTE that say your power will not be restored till likely Sunday or Monday. It's been a summer of storms, and while surrounding states have not had nearly the outages and problems we have, DTE says that's because we're being hit harder.
Michigan was the eye of the storm for each of the last 6 weeks, and we've been getting hit with Mother Nature with 60 and 70 mile an hour winds over and over again.
Power outage map looks like a multicolor quilt, even in communities that didn't have those high wind gusts. Power outages were the reason there was flooding on 94 and 75, according to MDOT, because power went out to multiple substations. And while DTE says it has called in 2,800 crews to address the outages, the real question becomes, how do we prevent what is becoming a common occurrence this summer?
I have called DTE numerous times since this all started in June. We lost a substation that services the very area that you're standing in. And how are they going to make sure that every time there's a storm, not even a storm, how are they going to make sure people continue to get power in these kind of times? And we need to get it figured out.
Federal dollars are already pouring into this state as part of COVID relief, but Congress is working on an infrastructure package.
We need to figure out what we can do in the short term to try to, let's clear out the logs in the Ecorse Creek. But for the longer term, it's going to take millions of dollars in time.
Back here live, you know, to give you an idea of the frustration of people, normally on any given night that I'm out here doing a live shot, Eric, take a walk with me. We'll have people who will drive by and they'll yell stuff out. You know, sometimes it's funny, sometimes it's nice, sometimes it's not. Multiple people have driven by us as we've been here tonight, screaming out of their car windows, tell them to get the power back on. I can tell you this much, DTE says it has its crews working 16-hour shifts right now. We're live in Westland. I'm Mara McDonald. Back to you.
I know they are working as hard as they can. All right, Mara, we appreciate it. An update now to a story we brought you at 6. Power has been restored at the Baldwin House Senior Living Center in Hazel Park. More than 100 elderly residents live at the complex. They lost power yesterday about 4 o'clock. They tell us the lights came back on around 8 tonight, so good for them.
Yeah, that is good. And not to be the bearer of bad news, not what we want to hear, but after all those storms, unfortunately, we're staring down the barrel of another one.
We do. Andrew, it looks like another wet morning commute, huh?
Well, Kimberly and Jason, you'll notice one good thing. Our friend Mara McDonald, who was out there live, you'll notice she was not carrying an umbrella. We still have a break from the rain right now. All the heavier rain still to our south, still to our west, but it is still warm and muggy. So while we're getting a break from any shower activity, no relief in sight so far with warm and muggy conditions still around. It's 77 degrees right now over at Metro, mostly cloudy skies, but it feels like it's close to 80 degrees. And these temperatures and heat indices only go down a couple of notches by dawn. And look at how much rain fell. 3.08 inches over the course of the past 24 hours over at Metro Airport. That actually was comprised of a daily record for today of over 2.5 inches, and many other areas 2 to 3 inches or more, not uncommon. How long does the break from the rain last? Well, it does last for at least a few hours. Rain does appear overnight, but unlike the past few nights where it's been closer to midnight, this time it's going to be closer to dawn, mainly to our south and west and overtaking parts of Detroit as well and other parts of southeast Michigan. But you notice the areas of green here. Light to moderate shower activity starting at around 4 a.m. and then it moves pretty quickly out of the area by lunchtime for that time being. But any more rain for Friday afternoon? What about the weekend? We'll talk about that and your 7-day forecast coming up.
Okay, Andrew, some breaking news now on Detroit's east side. One man is dead and a woman is injured in a shooting and crash. Police say the 34-year-old man and 25-year-old woman were shot while in a car near Harding and East Warren. The man drove off before crashing into a fence just down the street at St. Clair and Warren. The man was killed. The woman was taken to the hospital and listed as stable. Police say there's no information on a suspect or circumstances.
Tonight, neighbors got a chance to weigh in on the city of Detroit's plan to create a new transit center at the old state fairgrounds along 8 Mile and Woodward. Victor Williams is there live for us tonight. And Victor, this plan includes demolishing an historic building on that site.
Yes, Jason, that is correct. It's the historic Coliseum that's going to be demolished if this plan is approved, and that decision in itself has some commuters now on the fence about the entire thing.
We need something happening over here.
The Michigan State Fairgrounds may soon be the new home of the D-Dot Transit Center that's currently on Woodward Avenue, facing a few problems.
You see people here every day selling, doing whatever they be doing. And I feel like if it's inside, maybe they have more people there that can watch that.
A virtual town hall was held to discuss the new proposal. If given the green light, the transit center will soon operate out of the Dairy Cattle Building, while the historic Coliseum will be demolished.
Decision of the location has already been done. That process has already passed.
Although some are happy with the possibility of a bigger space, bathrooms, and a waiting area, along with more changes.
I think it might be, more room, more space, a little bit more secure, safer, for the people who got to take the transit at night.
Others aren't too keen on the idea of a place with such rich history being torn down.
Why does the Coliseum have to be demolished? Why does more of this history have to be destroyed?
Why fix it? If it's not broken, then why fix it?
And this will be a multi-million-dollar project, 7 to be exact. We just want to remind you that none of these plans are in stone just of yet. We're still in the very early stages of development, so we'll keep you guys updated on what happens in the future. Victor Williams, Local 4.
Okay, Victor. Federal regulators are expected to authorize a booster shot of the vaccine.
That extra dose would be for the immunocompromised. Authorization could happen as soon as tomorrow. Officials are stressing the importance of getting the vaccine, as estimates show 95% of cases are caused by the Delta variant. Meanwhile, Supreme Court Justice Amy Coney Barrett has denied an attempt to block an Indiana University mask mandate. Governor Whitmer was asked today why she hasn't mandated masks in schools before the year starts.
We're seeing a lot of districts moving forward and adopting mask policies. I think that that's the right thing to do. The legislature and I worked on a series of bills that really vest that initial authority in the school boards, and we're hoping that they take it seriously.
CDC and Michigan Department of Health and Human Services both recommend all students and staff wear masks in schools.
A barricaded situation in Clinton Township ends with a man in the hospital. It happened this morning at an apartment complex near Shook and Clicks. Police were called to the complex for a man pointing a weapon at other people. Investigators say he went to his apartment and barricaded himself with a rifle. We're told the man was shot, but police aren't elaborating on how. He was then taken to the hospital.
The 2020 U.S. Census data is out, and it shows the city of Detroit with a big drop in population. Statewide, Michigan's population actually saw a 2% increase in the past decade, with gains in both Oakland and Macomb counties. However, in Detroit, the number of people living in the city dropped 10.5% to about 639,000. The numbers are used to split up federal spending and to determine electoral college votes. Both Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib and Mayor Mike Duggan came out today slamming the process, saying the city is being undercounted.
If you look at what I think the current city is trying to say is our data showing how many people actually have power through DTE and others is not matching with what the census information came through. And the reality, we knew based on what we heard early on that the Trump administration census was undercounting.
Detroit only had a 51% response rate. That's the worst return rate for a city its size. Still ahead, the most popular app for teenagers rolls out some big changes.
What TikTok is now doing to make it safer for minors.
And one of the country's biggest concert promoters announces a vaccine mandate. Which local venues are impacted?
But first, Ford announces more delays for two of its most high-profile new vehicles, including the Bronco. How long customers might have to wait for their orders next.